Max Verstappen has signed a new Red Bull contract that runs until the end of 2030. In today's video, we will explain why he has made that decision, what it means for Red Bull's future, whether the team can give him another title-winning car, and what this new deal does and does not. Tell us about possible contract clauses. The announcement is official. Red Bull Racing, Formula One, and Verstappen's own website have all confirmed that the four-time world champion has extended his stay with the team. His previous contract was due to run until the end of 2028. This new agreement adds 2 more seasons and, on paper, keeps Verstappen at Red Bull until he is 33 years old. For much of this year, Verstappen's future was one of the main stories in Formula One. Red Bull had started the new regulation era badly. The RB22 was not regularly quick enough to fight Mercedes, and there were reliability problems as Red Bull Ford powertrains began its first season as a works engine supplier. At the same time, Verstappen had a contract clause in his old deal that allowed him to consider leaving for 2027 if he was outside the top 2 in the Drivers' Championship at the summer break. That condition was met. He was 6th in the standings and 110 points behind championship leader Kimi Antonelli before the Dutch Grand Prix. So the opportunity to leave was there. Reports linked Verstappen with Mercedes and McLaren. Sky Sports reported that his management had held talks with McLaren earlier in the year, but talks are not the same as a deal, and Verstappen has now made his own choice. He has signed a new contract with Red Bull. This is why the announcement matters. It is not just another driver deciding to stay for one more season. Verstappen is backing Red Bull for the next 5 years at a point when the team are trying to rebuild after a difficult start to 2026. The most important reason, based on Verstappen's own words, is trust. He says Red Bull feels like a second family. He says he sees a clear vision under team principal Laurent Mekies, and he says he believes the team have the right people to get back to the top. Those are not empty words in this case. Verstappen joined the Red Bull Junior program in 2014. He was promoted from Toro Rosso, now Racing Bulls, to the main Red Bull team in 2016. He won his very first race for Red Bull at the Spanish Grand Prix. Since then, he and the team have won 4 Drivers' Championships, 2 Constructors' Championships, and 71 Grands Prix together. That history does not guarantee another title, but it explains why Verstappen might value the people around him more than a move to an unfamiliar team. There is also the longer-term plan. Red Bull are investing heavily in their own power unit project with Ford. This is the first season of Red Bull Ford powertrains in Formula One, and the start has not been easy. But a long contract tells us that Verstappen believes the team can improve the engine, the car, and the whole project over time. Red Bull are asking him to judge where the project can be by 2030, not only where it is today. A long contract also gives a team continuity. A driver can give engineers consistent feedback, technical departments can work with a known reference, and the organization has more stability while it develops its own power unit. None of that guarantees speed, but it gives Red Bull a clearer base as it prepares for the next phase of the rules. Can Red Bull give him another title-winning car? The honest answer is that nobody can promise that. Verstappen has not won a race in 2026 so far, although he has taken 4 podiums. Red Bull have shown some improvement and their reliability problems appear to be getting better, but the team are still chasing Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren on many weekends. The gap to Antonelli in the championship shows how much work remains. However, Formula One can change quickly. The rules will continue to develop. The balance between the internal combustion engine and electrical power will change again in 2027. Red Bull will have more time to develop its own power unit, and the team have already made clear that their goal is not simply to score occasional podiums. They want Verstappen fighting for race wins and championships again. That is the expectation behind this contract. It is not a guarantee. It is a shared bet by Verstappen and Red Bull that their future is stronger than their present. Now we need to talk about the part that is creating a lot of discussion: contract clauses. The simple version is this: a contract until 2030 is a real commitment. It ends the immediate question of whether Verstappen will leave Red Bull for another team in 2027. It also makes a move to Mercedes or McLaren much less likely in the near future, but a public end date does not show us every line of the agreement. Professional sports contracts normally contain clauses. They can cover salary, bonuses, duties, behavior, medical situations, how an agreement can end, and what happens if certain conditions are met. But the exact wording is private unless the driver, team, or a court reveals it. That is why it would be wrong to say that Verstappen definitely has a new performance exit clause. Red Bull have not published the new contract. Verstappen has not published it. We do not know whether the old exit clause was removed, changed, retained in another form, or replaced with different conditions. We also cannot say that there are no clauses at all. Eric van Haren of De Telegraaf has argued that it would be surprising if Verstappen had signed such a long contract without clauses, given how carefully he and his management protect his future. So can Verstappen still leave Red Bull before 2030? The accurate answer is possibly, but the public does not know under which conditions. A driver can sometimes leave early if both sides agree or if a clause allows it. But there is no public evidence that Verstappen can simply decide next year to leave without consequences. The deal matters because it gives Red Bull a strong position. Verstappen has chosen them. Other teams now know that signing him would likely require an extraordinary situation and a private agreement with Red Bull and Verstappen's camp. For the driver market, this is big news. The usual Verstappen to Mercedes rumour has lost most of its momentum. McLaren already have Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri on long-term deals, and their reported talks with Verstappen have not led to a move. The largest question in the driver market has been answered. There is another point that should not be overlooked. Red Bull's second seat is now the more interesting question. Verstappen's future is settled. The team can focus on which driver should partner him and how the Racing Bulls drivers fit into the next phase of the project. That will affect Liam Lawson, Arvid Lindblad, and the rest of the Red Bull Junior program. For Verstappen, the pressure is different now too. He has chosen the team in public, and Red Bull have made a large commitment in return. That creates stability, but it also creates a clear standard. Verstappen will expect Red Bull to deliver progress. Red Bull will expect Verstappen to lead the project as they try to make their own engine operation competitive. Neither side has promised an immediate championship. In fact, Verstappen's own statement is quite measured. He talks about getting back to the top. That wording matters. It accepts that Red Bull are not at the top right now, but it also says he believes they can return there. It is a positive moment for Red Bull, but it is not the end of the hard work. The contract does not make the RB22 faster. It does not solve every engine issue. It does not take points away from Mercedes, Ferrari, or McLaren. What it does do is remove a major source of uncertainty. Max Verstappen is staying at Red Bull until the end of 2030. He has made clear why: the people, the trust, the history, and the belief that the team can return to the front. The bigger question has moved from where Verstappen will drive to whether Red Bull can build the car and engine package that makes this 5-year decision look like the right one.